Hello.
Hello.
This is Bill Lawyer. Who is this?
Mayor Palanca.
Oh, hi. Good to hear your voice.
Same here, Bill.
I guess it's just you and me.
So far.
The early birds.
Yeah. What time is it? I thought it was,
It's about 10:06.
Oh, Jesus. I thought it was later than that. Okay, we're on.
So I guess it's set to record.
Is this a video meeting?
This is Zoom. You can either have video on or off. You have it. I think yours is.
Oh,
video
okay.
is
I'm just getting the. I think I'm just getting the invitation now because I got my computer on. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
Now here it is. On-site testing, right? Town Park. Hold on. I'll try this one. Now I'm gonna do, Bill. I'm gonna hang up and try to go on the computer.
Okay.
Let me see. Before I hang up, let me try to get on. Okay, screenshot. Where do I dial in?
Pardon? Hello?
I'm talking to myself on this.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It's not like the one I'm used to with the village. We got WebEx.
Oh. Yeah.
So let me see.
Switch.
Okay, request a new permit. What the heck is all this? How do I get into the meeting? New permits. I'm not looking at. I don't look at that.
I would imagine that somebody like Debbie or somebody will know what to do.
Well, you got on-site testing, right? Town Park. What the meeting tonight? What's that? 5:50. Meeting tonight. Okay, thanks for the heads up. I will need to exit at 7:10, Josh. Yeah, but where do we call in? Or where do we click to get into the meeting?
Yeah, I got Sarah Suma sent me a link because I asked.
I don't have it. I'm hitting on Debbie, but it's the Town of Rye page. Screenshot 2020-05-19. I don't know how to get in.
Well, I wish I could help you. That's beyond, I'd have, she sent us 2 emails. At least I got 2 emails. One showed like basically very simple. The other was a little more complicated.
Let me see something. Oh boy, I tell you, I don't believe this. I know they have to send you an invitation to be on.
Well, there was one way you could get in by way of Facebook. I don't know if you can find that, but that was the other place that there was a link.
I don't know. I'm used to I'm in front of my computer, and I got 2 computers here, and you need an invitation somehow to be able to click on something and then enter your, type in your passwords. Here I'm dialing them in because I did the phone because I didn't have any way to get into on the computer.
Well, Yeah, what happened with me is that she sent me an email with the link in it, and all I had to do was click on that, and here I am. So that's the simple.
Let me see. Let me see if I can call. Do I have Debbie's number?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course I don't know where else you are. I still have a hard time thinking that I'm talking to all these people from different places. You know, it's like beyond what I thought was imaginable.
No, I'm dialing Debbie, but no one. Picking up.
I assume that she's going to be at her computer soon.
Debbie, yeah, Debbie Fritz. How do I get in? I'm on the phone. I dialed in, but how do I get in on my computer? Nobody sent me an invitation. Well, oh, I didn't see it. Because I didn't delete anything. I'll go back here on my, let me go look at.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, hi Bill. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, here's Sarah Schumer. Hold on. Let me see what this is. This means, okay, join Zoom meeting. Okay, hold on. Let me click.
That sounds like a good time. And you have a link there?
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, hold on. Cancel
Hi,
that.
Sarah.
Please click on
Sarah.
Open Zoom if you're using the dialogue. Okay, if nothing prompts, please click here to launch to launch the meeting or download and run Zoom. Let me try click here first. Hold on. Open. I'm in. Okay. I didn't have that. I didn't see that thing from Sarah. Okay, got it now. Okay.
You got it?
Okay.
You got it, Fred?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
All right. I knew Sarah would have the answer.
I don't see you though. Do you have a video camera?
I'm gonna join right now with video.
Okay.
I'm clicking on that. Anything happen?
No.
All right, here it goes. Okay.
There you are.
There you are.
Hold on.
Looks great.
Already joined by phone, so I'm gonna.
Hey, Fred.
Okay, I'm trying to figure this out.
No, you don't have
Already
to
joined
dial in
by-
now. You don't have to dial in with your phone because we can hear you through your computer.
Well, I didn't have that before, so I used the dial-in because I saw that one, but I didn't see the Zoom one.
Oh,
So what do you
you're
want
perfect.
me to do here?
No, we can see you and you can hear you.
Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of this. Enter 2309 on your phone to associate your phone call with this computer. That's one. Okay, on your phone. Okay, I got to do it on my phone. This is crazy.
Can you hear me? Everybody can hear?
I can hear you, Bill.
Good.
All right.
And I can see Benny.
I can see you, Bill.
Oh,
I don't know how to do this. Phone call. Enter on your phone to associate. I'm going to kill that. I get a file. What I got on my screen now is a phone.
yeah, that's what happens if you're no video.
Oh, now I'm out of it. Now I got you on the screen. But I'm still getting this phone all the time. Hi, Paul. Paul.
Hi, Fritz. How are you?
You know, we did what we had to do yesterday for my brother. I just want to thank you and the Village of Rybrook for a lovely basket that I got. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Paul. Thank you.
Fritz, it's the least we can do. So we're so sorry for your loss.
Oh.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate sending that and reaching out. Why do I keep getting this phone?
It's because you're dialed in.
Well, I don't know how to dial out.
No, don't. But what happens is whoever is talking, it highlights their screen, so that's what you see.
All right, I can leave it like this without, because I'm on the phone too, I guess.
No, you're perfectly fine. We can see you and we can hear you.
Okay, what about if I hang up on my phone?
Then we won't be able to hear you any longer.
Really? I'm on the computer.
Did you hang up?
I'm on my.
Try it. Hang up, Fritz. Hang up on the phone.
All right, I'm gonna hang up. Let me see what happens.
Bye, Fritz. Hi, Fritz. Fritz, now you got to use your computer audio. Can you hear us? Yeah, computer audio. That's the problem. He went on phone or by phone.
We can't hear you, Fritz.
He's better off re-signing in. Now, hold on.
I see Russ.
Fritz, log off and sign back on. Where is Fritz? Where'd he go?
You know what? I think that's what he did, Benny.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
Gary.
Hello, Mr. President.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Josh is here. Benny is
Emily.
here. Paul is here. We're waiting for Fritz. He just called in to get the information. And
Emily.
And hi, Pam. Hey, Bill. Hi,
Hi.
Fritz. Hey,
We can't hear you.
Russell.
We can't hear you, Fritz. You're going to have to dial in with your cell phone like you had it before.
No, he's
I
good.
hung up, but I'm joining with the computer. I still got the phone.
There you go. Nope, you're good. You're good. We hear you now.
But he doesn't stay.
All right. It's 6 o'clock. I know that, whoops. That was me. Josh, Emily's going to join us shortly, you believe?
I believe so. Yes.
All right. Why don't we start and do the pledge and the roll call? We'll add Emily when she comes in. And, you know, George Latimer's going to be joining us. So we'll, whenever he comes on, he'll begin. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Hey, yeah,
Okay.
I think that's good.
The press is online, I assume?
Cool.
Probably Victoria from the Westmore News.
Okay. All right. Debbie, since you have the flag behind you, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly.
I've got to stand up here, folks.
Well, if you stand up, you don't know where that
See my
camera's
hand.
going to
You got
point.
my hand.
Okay, I
Pledge
think we
allegiance.
can. Debbie, please lead us.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
the
the
flag
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 Of the United
United
States.
United
of
States of
America,
America.
and to the republic
Republic
For
which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty,
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Deborah?
Yes. Commissioner Rosenberg,
Here.
Commissioner Salanitro,
Here.
Commissioner Cohn,
here.
For which it stands,
Commissioner Blanca,
nation, under God,
Here.
indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We're getting some feedback here of some sort.
Gary, don't turn off your Facebook, Gary.
I don't have it on.
Yeah, if somebody's watching it on Facebook also, they should shut that down
No.
because there's a
I
delay.
don't have Facebook on. I don't have my phone on. I don't have my
No,
hard line on.
No, just earlier.
No.
An
All right.
echo.
Pardon me for just a moment. Hi, George.
I turned off the Facebook as well.
There as. Oh. All right. Hold on just a moment. Guys, I'm going to mute myself for a moment, please.
Okay.
While she's doing that, is there any problem with adopting the minutes from last time? If there are no additions or corrections, may I have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes from April 21? Motion, please. Who was that?
So
I
moved.
didn't hear. Was that Benny?
It's me.
All right, second, please.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, let's wait until Debbie may be on with George, so let's just wait. And hopefully Emily will join shortly.
First, I want to offer my condolences on your loss.
Oh, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.
Great, same thing. Sorry about your brother.
Oh, thank you,
Yes.
Vic.
Same,
All right,
Chris.
we all do.
I agree. This is just such a painful time, and
That wasn't good. Not good at all.
Was that George on the phone, Debbie?
that was George on the phone. He was looking for a password to the meeting, which I just gave him. Sarah, are you listening? Will you look for his entry into the meeting, please?
Will do.
Thank you.
Debbie, while we're waiting for George, would you text Emily and see if she's on her way?
Sure.
And I'd say on her way like she's driving somewhere.
Yeah, I still can't get over that.
I don't know. I think we're going to have all the meetings like this in the future.
Hello, everybody. George Latimer here.
Hi, George.
Mr. County
George.
Executive, hello and welcome to the Town Park meeting.
Nice to be with you. Nice to be with you all.
Good evening, George.
How's it going, my brother? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thanks, George. Appreciate your call. So thank you.
We're with you, brother.
George, the floor is yours. We're all present. Emily, we're waiting for Emily to enter.
I'm here.
She's in.
Hi, Emily.
Sorry for the delay.
Okay. Very good. Before we go on, we adopted the minutes. Emily, are you a yes in favor? So,
Yes, in favor.
okay. And Debbie, you'll note Emily's presence on the attendance roll. And
Yes,
we're all set to go.
Okay.
Mr. County Executive, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gary. I'll be quick, folks. I indicated when we've had our municipal calls that the things that we do at Playland, we'll try to keep you posted because they so directly affect Rye Town Park. And we made the decision, just announced it yesterday, that we're going to open Playland Beach Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday during Memorial Day weekend. We are going to limit it to county residents only, and we're going over the logistics of how we're going to intercept people and identify that they're not from the county so that they don't flood the two entrances, the official gates of the beach itself. But we're concerned that if we do get, well, New York City is going to have their beaches closed this weekend unless they change their mind at the last minute. And in so doing, we think there's going to be a push out to the island and then to some extent to our locations. And since Playland, like Rye Town Park, is easily accessible off I-95, we have to assume there'll be a certain, quadrant of people that will come up. If we had Glen Island open, which is our other Sound Shore beach, that would get the brunt of this. But Glen Island is not open because of the testing facility down there. So in any event, we're going to open the beach at 10:30 in the morning. And, the expectation is that we're going to limit it to 50% of the capacity of the beach. Now, Joan McDonald is working on our executive team with Kathy O'Connor and Pete Tartaglia, who are the commissioner and first deputy commissioner of recreation. If there's an appropriate person in the Rye Town governmental family or the Rye Town Park Commission governmental family, they should give Joan a call tomorrow, 995-2990, and set up a conversation between whoever's operating the beach and where you are and the Playland Beach so they can go over the actual physical logistics of how they plan to handle certain things. We will not have any concessions open, so there won't be any food or drink that will be available for them, but I believe we are going to allow food on the beach. But I don't want to speak out of turn. Those operational things will drill down, and the person from Rye Town Park Beach talks to the person from Playland Beach, and they exchange notes. We're going to try to get compliance with masks and social distancing. We've had our beach open for dogs up to this point. So it's been a little bit of a different constituency than somebody that's going to come and put out an umbrella and stay there all day. And we're going to see how we do. The game plan is after Monday, the beach will be closed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we'll make a decision based on what happens over the weekend, whether we'll reopen it for the subsequent weekends, which would be Saturdays and Sundays. That's the normal way the Playland Beach operates anyway. So right now we aren't outside of the norm in what we're doing. It's just we're in a very different time. And candidly, you know, we don't know how well we'll manage all of this. It's, you know, it could be a bit of a problem. Now, you know, unlike your situation where you have, you know, a big, you know, grassy park area where people can be right behind the beach, we obviously have a parking lot. The amusement park is closed, will be closed for at least the next 2 months or thereabouts. And that's at the best. We don't know if we're ever going to, we don't know if we're going to open it at all this year, but we know for sure that we're not opening it through July. So we don't necessarily have the backup reason for people to hang around other than the boardwalk if they can't get on the beach. But we don't know how we're going to manage the crowd control. And we basically told our people to throw bodies at it, do the best we can, make sure we have some senior people out there that can make decisions on the site. And I would also suggest if you have one person in charge down there, and they're going to have their cell phone with them, that they get, you know, an equivalent on Playland, same thing, person with a cell phone, so they can talk between each other during the course of the days in case some decisions have to be made, you know, in the moment that won't come up through, you know, Gary or me or other executives, and just are going to be made by the people in the operating position. So we're happy to have those that kind of liaison, and that's why I gave you Joan's number, because whoever is going to be the point person for you guys should call Joan. It'll wind up going down to Kathy O'Connor, but for the moment, we'll let it be at the managerial level.
George, it's
Yes,
Gary. Right now, as you may be aware, our beach has been open, unlike Playland. Right. Not for dogs. People have been on the beach.
I have seen them.
We have not had any major problems. The staff has been continually discussing this. We had a staff meeting at which some of the commissioners were present as well, specifically Josh and myself, going over what our position would be. We don't have quite the same situation that you have in Playland. Our parking lot is much smaller, relevant to the size of the beach. I think our beaches may be comparable in size, but your parking lot is so much larger than ours.
Yeah.
And we have figured out that even fully packed with 300 cars, and we had to close our beach twice, our parking lot twice, and yet the beach would never approached 50% capacity. So we don't have that problem in terms of limiting. Debbie has been in direct communication with Pete Tartaglia, and Russell, our park director, has been in communication with Judy Anchor, the head of the lifeguards at Playland, and we're coordinating all of those things so that we both will have a smooth opening. I don't know what you're doing with permits. What we're doing, and we're going to discuss further tonight, but the tentative plan right now is for us to honor our 2019 permits through May 31st. And our portal is either open right now or will be open tomorrow for 2020 permits. We, unlike you, we don't collect money at the door anymore. Everything is done remotely. And the parking kiosk will be operating. The phone application will be operating. Our plan right now is to allow residents only from 9 a.m. when the parking lot opens to 11 a.m. to allow residents and all of those with permits can come at that time. After that, it's first come, first serve. And I'm going to suggest to the commission that be in effect for the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't think we need to do that on the weekdays because I don't think we get those kinds of crowds that we need to limit it to permit holders. Especially people are going back to work more and more. So I think the crowds will be less during the week. So that is our tentative plan now. And I think that, you know, one thing we will have to worry about is traffic coming between Playland and Rye Beach. But we've had that for years past, so I don't think that's anything new. So that's our tentative plan. And as I say, we're in constant communication, our staff with your staff. So we're hoping that even with the slight differences in approach, that everything will work out. We do not have the manpower that you do. So we can't call in people from all over the county. We have to rely on our rangers who have been instructed. And we went over this at our county leadership meeting, if you'll recall, on Monday, is we will cajole, we will ask, please wear your face mask. It's mandatory. Please keep social distancing. But we're not going to be in a position to do anything. If it gets out of hand, we'll have to call the Rye Police. We're hoping that you will have some ability to venture onto, when I say you, I mean the county police will have some ability to venture into Rye Town Park and make their blue presence felt, you know, make mention. But I don't think we're looking to arrest anybody.
Right.
You know, we're looking for self-compliance. Most people, I think we've all observed that most people, when approached and reminded, will say, oh, thank you for reminding me. Of course, that's the vast majority, and Russell could confirm this, but that's the vast majority of people. I don't think we have a lot of people who are, you know, belligerent and not observing the rules, and we'll continue. We expect that at some point the county health department will visit us. We'll make sure that our lifeguards are properly stationed, that the lifeguard stands are properly positioned, that our lines with buoys are properly set. And while they're there, they'll look and see if social distancing is being maintained, and we'll make a comment or two. And I think that's what we have to do and go forward.
Well, I think it sounds like the basic connection lines are in place. The only other question is the Rye City Police are the police that respond to issues on the Rye Town Park, I presume?
That is correct.
So I would assume that they would reach out to the county in a matter of mutual aid immediately, and if we have resources that we can shift to help Rye City over there, it would be the normal asking situation. It would be something where the Rye City Police dealt with a situation where the manpower needed some assistance, that the county police would be there at the ready.
Yeah, Gary,
yes,
Rye, that is myself and Greg Usry and our Public Safety Commissioner, would like to meet with you and Debbie and Park Security in advance of the weekend so that we can figure out what is appropriate.
That's fine. Let's do it tomorrow. I can't do it Thursday, and Friday is too close. So let's figure out a time tomorrow we can meet via Zoom.
Okay, we'll try to make that work.
Okay.
Well, folks, I know you have other things on your agenda, so I'm good. I just want to make sure that I help make the connection. Sounds like we're in a good place, at least as far as we know. Again, in our operation, Joan McDonald's the immediate point of contact, and then down the line, Kathy O'Connor, Pete Tartaglia, and others. And hopefully we'll have a good weekend. And we'll have a good summer.
Thank you, George.
All right,
and yes, we are cooperating. And by the way, we don't have very much on our agenda except this. Any other questions for the county executive?
Stay well, stay healthy.
Everybody.
Thank you. You too. All of you.
Thank you, George.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, George.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Gary. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, George. So
I hope you will have a good weekend. And have a good summer.
all right, let me get back to the if I can find my agenda will be good. Okay, the item of business next is what we've already been discussing. a discussion regarding the opening of the park. And you've heard what I've said. Are there any comments to that? You know, just an overview? You know, I don't want to be repetitive, but the permit portal will be open. We'll be ready to go. I understand Russ, you could fill that in with the lifeguards are going to be on duty. The beach will be open. And as far as we know, it'll be more of the same that we've had for the last couple of weeks.
Just to clarify though, at this point in time, we expect to have half our beach open for swimming. The entire beach can be open for people sitting out, but only half the beach will be open for swimming.
Okay.
That's due to staffing restrictions and also the ability to get all the lines in place and make it a safe, swimming environment.
Which part of the beach will be open? The part near the seawall or the north part?
Near the seawall, the south, what they call Beach 2, which is from the first aid station south to Dearborn Avenue.
Okay. So there's no swimming on the north side of the jetty.
Correct. And the waterfront staff and security have been notified that it's going to be their job to enforce that.
Okay.
Gary, can we talk? Can we talk about who can come to the beach this weekend? That is, George was raising concerns about a flood of people coming up from the city, and I think we need to think in the same way. That is, city beaches closed, no county beach open except on this side of the county, I believe, except Playland. And we will be the object of attention if people can't get on Playland Beach or perhaps anywhere. And so I'm wondering if we should have for this weekend essentially a residents only rule, residents / permit holders only rule for the beach.
Well,
Josh, if I may, Gary, I just want to pick up on Josh. I'm reading the memo that Debbie sent out that you and Josh had met on. Listening to the news today, just this evening, the 5 o'clock news, big concerns in Long Island because the New York beaches are closed, and they're only limiting in Hempstead, Southampton, all the beaches out there. They're limiting access to residents only. There's some are even having no daily beach passes. They're expecting a large influx from the city. I agree with Josh. I think we got to watch that very carefully, especially this weekend. If you get a nice weekend, they're going to look for a place to go. And if they know where Playland is, they'll find Oakland. Believe me, they'll find Right Town Park. And I'm concerned about that. And we're saying here we're going to allow from 9 to 11 for residents, and then it's open. I would rather limit it, at least this first weekend, to residents only and see how that goes before, we open it up wide to everyone that wants to come to the beach. I don't know. I think we got to be very careful. I mean, you made a comment that during the week we're not going to see anybody. Well, if beaches are closed, they're going to look for a beach, and if they know Oakland is open, they're going to come, even during the week. I'm just voicing my concerns.
No, I understand.
It's up to the commission.
I think there's a certain amount of validity to what both you and Josh are saying. My view is more of a wait and see. Let's see what happens and react to it. I don't know what the other commissioners feel like. If you feel that way, what I would do though is, if we're going to limit it, I would limit it to residents either with or without a permit, and they would have to prove their residency when they come in, which is going to cause a logjam at the entrance gate, I would assume.
May I suggest something? May I suggest something?
Sure.
Because our real limitation is our parking availability.
It's the parking.
So what I might suggest is that we limit the parking, limit cars to residents and permit holders only. Because we are going to get, and we get a large number of walk-ins who park at Playland and then walk into our park and just want to go to the beach or just sit in the park. So so if we can limit the parking to residents and permit holders only, I think there would be less of an outcry.
I have a question. On that. Did we sell permits for this season? We sold any?
No, they haven't been on sale yet.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, are you going to honor last year's permit holders?
Yes, through May 31st.
I don't know.
We have a lot of hue and cry. I think.
When do they expire? When do those permits expire? Was there an expiration?
They expired December 31st.
Okay.
No,
so we don't have any obligation to a non-resident permit holder, correct? At this point in time.
All permits expired then.
Well, all permits. But then that's what I'm saying. I'd go with the residents.
That includes the senior permits and all the resident permits. They all expired.
Yeah, I'm for testing.
Fritz, I've had senior
Gary,
permits.
if I may, I'm just for my opinion, for what it's worth, is to this first weekend, test it residents only. And I agree with the park director saying that, you know, we could watch it by the parking lot, that's what's going to determine what we're going to end up in the beach. And let's not rush into this. Let's try to go cautiously forward. And I see that's what I heard the county executive saying with his situation at Playland. They're going to watch it, limit it to county, because he feels New York's going to come in. So, and he's cautiously watching it. I think we should do likewise.
I think might be a little confusing is that the definition of resident, the county is using the resident only, but it's county residents. When we say resident only, it's Wright-Town resident.
That's right. Exactly, Benny.
That could be some confusion from folks who say I'm a resident of the county thinking they can get into Wright-Town Park. So, you know, there's a little, it's never happened before and might be a small challenge. But the other reality from all of the data that we've collected over the years, we know that the ratio of residents to non-residents has always been holding 70-30. So by just saying residents only, and our definition of Wright-Town residents only, we should have no problem being under the 50% threshold because we're
not worried about, Benny, we're not worried about the 50% at all. There's no way we're reaching 50% on the beach, which is the standard, not 50% in the parking lot. We could double, we could have 600 cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then start to worry about it. But we only have a maximum of 300.
Let me ask
we don't have that problem.
Gary, you could have this. Gary, you could have the situation where people park at Rye Playland and walk over. A lot of people from the Bronx, from the city. You know, I think that what you're going to see is a lot. The parking lot will fill up if we don't limit it, and then, given the fact that they won't be able to park in the parking lot, they're going to park next door, and then you're going to have a flood of people walk through from Rye Playland.
And they'll get turned away at Rye Playland and walk over.
They're going to do that anyway.
Playland is going to be turning people away who are not residents of Westchester County.
So turning them away to park, Debbie?
Yes, correct. Unless there is a car that says is a non-resident says, "Oh, I'm only here to walk." Apparently, they will be letting those people in, but the county police will be on the circle and turning people away who are not Westchester County residents. And I would say that if you're anticipating this as a policy, we're going to need a lot of support from Rye PD.
If I may, I want to say one thing. This, you got to remember, my fellow members of this commission, this is not a normal season we're going into. This is beyond the norm. What's going to happen here is that people that may never have gone to the beach are going to become beachgoers because they're cooped in for 3 months. And that's it. If they know that place is open, they're going to want to come there. Okay. And I think we're going to get more resident participation. And if we open it up the way we've been operating, I think it will be a serious problem down there. I think it's easier to look at it, somebody that says Port Chester, Rye Brook, Rye City, or Rye Neck, and manage it that way, and with the parking lot. I think this is going to be above the norm, and we have to be very careful. I've been looking at pictures from the past weekends when we had good weather. And I agree with staff, and I talked to Gary that people felt that it wasn't bad at that time. Well, we're getting into season. Now it's going to get bad. And they're asking already, is the beach going to be open? I'm getting calls for now. So, I think we have to take care, like Long Island's doing and all those other places. They're taking care, residents only, and I think we have to be the same. That's my opinion.
All right. I think if everybody has
to be a resident in a carload of people, or does there have to be just one resident for Playland?
Well, there's a difference. Okay, let's separate parking from beach. Parking from beach. So you come in and the car is a non-resident car and they turn it away. What happens if there's a resident in the car and three non-residents? You're talking
Resident
about the car.
can come in, 3 people go home.
I agree.
It's what's going to happen.
It's residents only. Resident means resident, Gary.
Okay.
And that's what they do in Connecticut. They see a New York plate, they spin you around and you're out. I'm sorry. You don't belong here. You don't live in Connecticut.
People from the Bronx have New York plates.
I know they have New York plates, but when you have to see their license if they come in. That's the first thing I would do. Where's the card? Can I see your license? If it says Bronx, New York, turn them around. They don't even get into the beach. You got to have a Rye City or Rye Brook license to get in. That's the only way you can manage it. And it's going to take a little extra effort at the gate to stop them and say you can't come in.
Well,
before they even get to the lines to get into the beach. The parking lot is where the key to where you put the brakes on.
Fritz, let me just ask a question. What is the central concern about from the commission members? Is it that there won't be enough parking for residents, or there won't be enough space on the beach for residents?
Both.
Parking and Jeff, I believe, Jeff, that and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, aren't we only allowed to allow only 50% of total capacity on the beach?
But Fritz, we've never even gotten close to that, even on our business.
I'm just saying.
But Russell, we've never seen a day like we may have this weekend.
I beg to differ with you, Josh. We have.
Well, why do you say that? New York City beaches are closed. Glen Island is closed.
It's a different world out there.
I'm just saying that the reason I say that, and here's my explanation, is that when we've allowed the maximum number of cars in every available space, up on the grass and the field and the hills and stuff like that, it's still less than 700 cars. We're talking about only letting 300 cars in.
Listen, and I believe one thing, if I may. The people, people, even though the beach is open, there's still a fear that they don't want to go there because of the COVID-19. They feel they'll be in a confined space with people without masks. I mean, we're against a lot of unknowns here, gentlemen, that we don't know what's going to happen.
Let me just finish. Is Playland going to allow unlimited parking? Forget about entrance to the beach. Is Playland's parking lot going to be open for anybody?
They're not counting the parking lot. What they're counting is the number of people onto the beach. That is how they're measuring capacity.
Okay, so it's theoretically possible that the county Playland parking lots get filled up with non-residents and they walk into our park.
Wait a second.
Excuse me. Allow me to answer the question. What Peter Tartaglia explained was that the county rangers will be turning cars away on the circle and not allowing them to park.
Okay. So non-residents don't get to park at Playland. non-residents at the moment could park at Rye-Town Park up to a capacity of 300 total cars. Both
Largely true.
So there's a limitation just on cars right now. So, you know, you're not going to get this flood of people coming in from Playland parking lots because they can't park there in the first place. And there's no place else to park if they don't make it in time to be one of the 300 cars. So really, there's a funnel. There's like a restriction on people physically even getting close to our park unless they walk from some remote location. So what are we really talking about here?
We're talking about the fact that residents and current permit holders could get turned away from the Rye-Town Park parking lot.
Okay.
Very early in the day.
Just allow residents to park then. So parking is only for residents.
I think that's what Fritz is implying, yes.
I would say walk-in admission, as long as we're not at capacity, should be open to anybody.
I'm with Fritz and Josh on this. I think we limit it to residents. I do think if somebody's coming up from God only knows where, they're not obviously a Westchester County resident, they get turned around at Playland, they'll park, I mean, they'll risk a ticket in a Rye City street to walk to a beach, right? That's gonna let them in. I do think people, you know, this is a big weekend. Everybody's talking about opening, and a lot of people have been cooped up for a long time and are really going to want to get out. I worry that this isn't going to be like a weekend that we've seen before. And I just feel like I know our communities respectively have been working really hard to contain the spread of this virus. And I'm not insinuating that everywhere else they aren't doing the same, but I hate to think that we're not taking extreme precautions on the first weekend of our beach being open.
I agree.
Emily, are the parking restrictions around the park in effect this weekend or May 31st?
No, they are. The parking
They're in effect?
restrictions will be in effect, but people do, as Emily said, if they don't find a space in the parking lot, then they decide they're going to bear the cost of the ticket if they brought the family from somewhere and the whole beach day is going down the drain.
I concur. I live in this neighborhood, and it's an annual problem on the first weekends in the summer.
Okay. Under normal circumstances, it's a problem. So
that's correct.
Circumstances.
And those parking rules went into effect May 1st. What's
the difference between a non-resident taking a chance on a parking ticket and a resident taking a chance because they didn't make the 300? They didn't make the 300 car, you know.
We're making this too complicated.
All right, let me go over. Let me go over.
I'd like to just add another. Pardon me, Gary. You know, I'm watching comments from the on the Facebook chain, and there was a permit holder from Larchmont who is asking, is it your intention that the permit holder from Larchmont not be permitted at Rye-Town Park?
Yes.
Under this policy.
No,
for this weekend.
Are
not a town resident. Yes.
But they had a permit from last year.
That's last year. That's last year.
Okay, I just
we're talking this. We're talking now. That was last year.
Understood.
Well, again,
when does this permit technically expire? May 31st, right?
Yeah. No. Expired December 31st.
It did. We've been working with our portal IT support, and we've requested that they allow us a grace period of May 31st. So we're in the process of moving that date. We can always move it back again tomorrow.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go resident only and not have the conflict with current permit holders that have an expired permit, rather than extending it and create a problem, it's expired and they no longer have a permit.
Gone. They don't have a permit.
Well,
Always
in all due
now for
respect,
extending
guys,
the
can I
permit.
speak? Can I speak, please? Number one, my feeling in getting the permit extension for a short period of time was that there are many residents, and we're talking residents, who now tomorrow will be Wednesday, will have a grand total of 2 days to get their permit. Otherwise, they will not have a permit. And then they will have to pay the full rate at the kiosk.
What's that? What's the full rate again?
It's
I don't remember. Whatever it is, they won't have the permit fee. So basically, we're not giving them any time to get a new permit for 2020.
No, guys, we can't do that. That's just not fair, right? So
I think,
I think that we should, as Debbie has recommended, extend the permits until the end of May. We're talking about what, one more weekend, and let people who have permits come on Labor Day weekend. The situation of the large, well, I think residents only is the way to go. I agree with you. I think residents only is probably
residents only, Paul. I say
yes.
residents only. Honor last year's permits. Residents only. So
I
they
agree.
don't have to pay the fee at the gate. Residents only. Non-residents, no.
all right, including non-residents with permits, they still won't be honored on the weekend, okay? So.
Let me ask you a question. Do we know how many non-resident permit holders there are? It can't be.
Yes.
Over there.
Oh, it's a lot.
How much is it?
I don't know the number.
Ballpark?
I can't.
We
If you
have
guys-
that on record, Paul.
I can try to
If you
find
guys
out.
want to give me a second, I can look it up.
Yeah, do
I
that.
can also look it
because
up.
It's worth knowing.
Let's
It's worth
just remember,
knowing.
from a financial point of view, the non-residents support the park. So that
Yes.
without the non-residents coming in on busy weekends, we will suffer more of a financial loss. We're already going to suffer a financial loss, but we're going to have more of a financial loss.
Gary, we're talking about one weekend. We're talking, we're
No,
only talking about this weekend.
actually, Josh, we're talking about one weekend to start, and then we have to decide on the other weekends.
Yes,
So,
of course.
okay, so
It's worth noting that our holiday weekend revenue generally, for all the holiday weekends, accounts for half of our revenue.
It'll be
Debbie, I'm not worried about revenue, Deb, right now. I'm worried about keeping people safe and getting the people that should come to the beach, which is our residents, to come and enjoy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We monitor it. The governor changes every day. A rule changes. The county.
Mayor, I just want to make it clear. I'm not advocating a position. I'm just providing information. So that you
I
have the
appreciate
data.
that, but I'm just saying that what we need to do is take this weekend and see what we're up against. One weekend. We could always adjust. They've been adjusting. Gary, they've been adjusting rules daily about when they're going to do things. We have to walk before we run with this. This is a different world out there and a different beach season.
I disagree with you on one thing. It's not a safety issue, okay? The beach will not be 50% full. Doesn't matter, residents or non-residents. The fact is that the social distancing and mask rules are in effect, and that's what the safety issue is. What you're talking about is what you've been talking about from the beginning, which is making sure that permit holders, and especially resident permit holders, have access to the parking lot. The beach is irrelevant because it's not going to be more than 50%, no matter what happens. The issue is the parking lot.
You know, guys, this may be a moot point.
Can I finish, please? Can I finish, please? The issue is the parking lot. And as I understand it, the commission is virtually unanimous in determining residents only for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Residents only,
and Monday,
whether or not they have a permit. Is that correct?
And Monday,
Yes.
is right.
And Monday.
Monday.
And the weather may put an end to this anyway.
Yes, Monday.
It's supposed to rain on Saturday, and Friday's going to be the nicest day. It's going to be in the raining Saturday and then the 60s Sunday and Monday.
Okay, folks, I have your numbers for you.
Thank you, Russ.
Go ahead, Russ.
Non-resident senior permits were 351 last year. Non-resident single permits were 44, and non-resident family permits were 68, giving us a grand total of 463.
That's a lot more than I expected. Roughly how many resident permits do we have?
Well, a lot, thousands, you know.
Okay, all right.
But,
thank you, Russ.
But the non-resident seniors pay, I think it's over $125 for the
That's
season.
right.
So basically, what you're doing with this rule is you're squeezing out the non-resident seniors. I mean, that's basically it. Because the non-resident singles and families are small numbers. So you're squeezing out the non-resident seniors.
Yep.
Okay.
For this weekend.
So let's just understand what we're doing. I'm sorry I didn't say Monday because I wasn't even thinking it was a holiday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, residents only with or without a permit.
Right.
The permits will be extended to May 31st. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, it's open. Residents and non-residents, it's open. Correct? And then, again, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, unless we change it, will be residents only. And if we need to change on the fly, we'll change on the fly.
Do we need to do residents only the following weekend, next weekend?
Well, that's what I think we'll do it for 2 weekends and see what happens.
Why don't we just stick with residents only for the 2 weekends?
Yeah. That's what I said.
I mean, I'm sorry, for the whole 2 weeks, just to
Because
see
I don't
how
think
it goes.
I don't think we have a problem during the week, Emily, and there's no reason it costs us extra staff. We're going to have people. We're going to have people manning the stations at a cost to determine if people are residents or non-residents when the parking lot is not going to be filled during the week.
Yeah, I agree with Gary, and certainly the police plans that we'll have to make for this weekend will have a cost. But I differ in the treatment of the next weekend. I'd like us to consider deciding that we'll leave you, Gary, with an executive decision based on the experience this weekend. If it turns out that we're guarding against a problem that proves not to be a problem, then we should be more open the following weekend.
Well, what we could do as an intermediate step is the following weekend, we would allow, as we do all residents, permit and non-permit holders, and we would also allow non-resident permit holders, but not allow non-residents without a permit. That way we accommodate all the permit holders and we see where that goes. Because if people are buying a permit, they expect they're going to get something on the weekend. Otherwise, we might as well not even sell the permits.
Gary, I think we should go with what we said: Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday this week. Residents only, permits. They got that using their permits from last year. If they don't, they pay like they would normally pay if they weren't a permit holder. During the week, if you want to lax up during the week because you don't think you're going to get it, if you want to take a shot at that and then go back to the next weekend and do it for 2 weekends, I'm for that. I think,
I don't understand. The second weekend?
The second weekend, I think the Fridays, what would you say? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think you mentioned it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever you said, it's fine with me. To give it a two weekends, the holiday week and a regular week, to see how we play out during the week. If you don't, I go by the people that work at the beach. If you don't think you get that big of a crowd Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, then you might want to say if a resident comes, you can let them, as long as they can get into the parking lot, you go with it. It's a touch and go with this thing. We don't know. We're up against an unknown here, but I think we need to walk before we can run. We should try this for 2 weekends, see what we're up against. Then we can make a decision how we move forward into a full season under the circumstances we have to deal with.
Does the non-resident restriction or the resident restriction disallow somebody from walking onto the beach or the park? That's my question.
It's just, I think it's just the parking lot because we don't have a problem. Right. We don't have a problem on the beach. If we had a problem on the beach, we could revisit that. But from what we understand, we don't have an overcrowded beach. The problem is getting into the parking lot.
Clarified. That point needs to be clarified with the entire commission because that's what I was driving at. I mean, someone finds a parking spot somewhere else, legally or what have you.
Or they arrive by train
to the beach.
Or cab.
Or they parked at Playland and they're because they're a county resident, but they're not a town resident, so they can walk right into the park.
Or they take a taxi cab from Portchester.
Right. So the Larchmont question on Facebook, there's nothing in our discussion that would prohibit that person parking in Playland and walking to the beach.
That is correct. That is correct.
So so we're just talking about non-resident, resident-only parking.
Right.
We're not limiting the non-resident access to the beach or the park for that matter. Walk-ons are welcome. Parking is only for residents only.
Correct.
I don't think that's what Fritz was suggesting.
I'm not. I didn't think it that way.
How do you control the walk-ons? You have the north. You're going to control the walk-ons as well.
They have to show proof to get on the beach, Benny.
Okay, so that's. I'm not.
If they come in any other way, via taxi cab, you're gonna have to check. You like check credentials anywhere you go. If somebody says, "Let me see your credentials."
Yeah, but wait, you don't need to, Fritz.
If you don't have to, you don't have to.
The only reason you need to check credentials at the beach is because the rate for residents and non-residents is different. Is that correct, Debbie?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's why you need to check the credentials. And if they have a permit, non-resident permit, they can go on the beach. If they have a resident permit, they can go on the beach because that's what it includes.
What if they
we are not worried about, unless somebody says, we got 1,500 people on the beach and it's too crowded and we're violating the 50% rule, then the population of the beach is irrelevant as long as social distancing is maintained. We're not worried about the population on the beach, Fritz, because
Gary, I watched the news tonight. All they said, all the beaches in Long Island, residents only. They non-resident. No, you got to make a decision. You can't say, well, non-resident and then resident and make a damn decision.
I'm making a decision.
And this is it. This is what we got to do. Non-residents. We said what we wanted to do for 2 weeks.
I'm making a decision. It's
I can't
residents only in the parking lot. Anybody with a permit, if they want to walk from Larchmont or park in Playland from Larchmont and then come to our beach, as long as they pay the fee or have a permit, they're welcome.
They don't have a permit. The permit expired December.
We're extending it to May 31st, and then it will expire, and they'll have to have a 2020 permit. They'll have to buy.
I want to extend it. I want to extend it for non-residents. That's what I said. Why would you extend it to a non-resident until you know what we're up against?
Yeah. Fritz, I'm not sure that's technologically possible.
I'm out. You know where I stand. I'm out of this meeting. You know where I stand. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we extend the permits personally, but I do have a question about just in terms of information. I mean, it sounds like this is a free-for-all. Do we think people are going to be checking the website to know who's allowed when, like weekdays versus weekends, or?
Yes, it's not that complicated. Anybody could read English. It'll say, what the rules are.
Where?
And whatever the commission decides. I am unclear right now let's take a count. I know where Fritz stands. Fritz does not want to extend it to May 31st. I believe it should be extended because people will only have 2 days to get a permit, and that includes residents. Okay?
I didn't hear him say that. Did everybody else hear him say he didn't want to extend it for residents?
He doesn't want to
for residents only?
Yes, he doesn't want to extend anything beyond this. They've all expired. As far as Fritz is concerned, they have all expired, and they have to get new ones. My position is people are going to start to apply on Wednesday. They may not get their documentation in, for Friday, and therefore we should extend it through the next weekend, and then we won't extend it further. People will have essentially a week and a half to get their 2020 permits, resident and non-resident.
I think we should extend the resident permits through the end of the month.
And the non-resident?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
and if it's not...
Hold on one second. Let me just, I kind of started to look up now what the other counties are doing and the towns are doing. For example, it is true that the Suffolk and Nassau are excluding people who don't live in Suffolk or Nassau from their beaches. The town beaches are keeping their beaches also reserved for county residents, not just town residents, county residents. So while the sort of circle of allowed people is shrinking, it's not, like completely shrinking. Some of the coverage I'm reading, so for example, like Hempstead, Point Lookout, Lido, are going to be open to people from Nassau, not just people from Point Lookout or Lido or whatever.
That goes against everything they've ever done before. They've usually been just town, and just town of Hempstead, where I grew up. You had to be a resident of the town of Hempstead to go to Lido and
well, according to this news account from Channel 4, it's like the implication here is heretofore those beaches were open to everybody. You just could pay the fee or get a permit or whatever, and
that's
you're
not true.
Whether you're a resident of Point Lookout, Lido, or whatever, they're limiting it. It seems like the county geography is what other counties and towns are operating inside of, not the smaller subunits of the county. So if anybody wants to look, it's on NBC. Just Google Long Island beaches.
We could do it that way too. Is limited to, well, right now we're just talking about limiting it to town residents, except on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Town and city.
Town and city, yeah. What Paul, I understand.
That may take some pressure off the Rye PD because cars arriving at Playland and being turned around, the information is, well, you can't go over to Rye Town Park either, so you might as well leave. But if it's a county resident, then they can go to either beach.
I think in keeping with where Fritz is coming from, let's get one question. Can we technologically extend the resident permits and not extend the non-resident permits?
The answer is I don't know. Based on the interchange that I had today with our portal IT support team, it was a matter of dates, and they couldn't arrange an overlapping of dates for a grace period. Whether they can split the hair and just allow certain zip codes,
okay, then what is,
we'll have to explore.
Okay. Then what is, let's find that out immediately. And what is the feeling of the commissioners regarding extending, if we can extend residents only to May 31st and exclude non-residents, I assume everybody will be in favor of that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. If it is not possible to extend one without the other, is the feeling that we should therefore extend nobody or to extend everybody? Josh, Benny, Paul?
You got to find a way to do resident only. You got to find a way to do resident only. I think.
Let's say we can't.
I think you can. I think you can. I mean.
No, Benny, don't say.
I think you can also, and if you can't do it technologically, just ask them to show their permit with a driver's license, and that'll be that.
Yeah, I mean, the permit itself says resident and non-resident on it. So even by default, if you don't have the ability to extend it virtually, I mean, electronically, you are doing it virtually when the person shows you the identification.
All right. So
That's
basically,
correct.
the feeling is we're not going to extend non-resident permits. We will try to extend the resident permit electronically, and if not, we'll accept if they have their permit.
Yeah, just show it.
Okay. But here's the difference. If they have their permit, that's fine. I got my permit. I'm coming on. I got free parking. I got free beach. Wonderful. Now they say, I'm a 2019 permit holder, and I don't have my permit. I threw it away after the season.
Too bad. No,
here's my driver's license. I'm a resident.
No.
Now they don't get the benefit.
No.
Am I
Lost is
correct?
lost. Yeah, if you don't have the permit, you can't. If you can't provide proof that you're a permit holder, I don't think it's incumbent upon staff to try to locate that information.
All right, fine. As long, okay. Does everybody feel that way? If everybody feels that way, then that's what the rule is going to be.
Can I just ask a question, guys? But in response to Benny's just comment there, right? Okay, so I was a 2019 resident permit holder or non-resident permit holder. I don't have my permit with me, but I can show. Oh no, because as long as you can show proof of residency, you can come in. But if you're a non-resident and you don't have your permit, then right, you can't come in this weekend.
So that's what it is.
Or a resident, for that matter. Anybody without a permit has to pay the rate, and you have to be a resident to get on.
But Benny, what if I never had a permit, but I'm a resident?
Yeah, you can park. Yes.
Okay, yeah, as long you're right.
But now you have the day parking rate, and you're paying the beach admission.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
We're back to where we were when we were thinking of not issuing
almost
at all. So
Gary, the bigger challenge, which is the last discussion, where we had a disconnect regarding walk-ons. Can anybody walk onto the park, lay a blanket? Can anybody walk onto the beach, pay the rate?
Yes.
And the answer, you said yes. And that's the
yes, because
Fritz was not happy with that.
The issue for Rye-Town Park, as opposed to the issue for Playland Beach, is Playland has a lot of parking. They have so much parking there because of the amusement park that's not being used. So they can have potentially several thousand people park at Playland and go on to Playland Beach and exceed their 50% limit. We, on the other hand, have very limited parking, so that if all of our parking is taken up, we're not going to come near the 50%. So we should easily be able to handle any overflow, either from Playland or people walking in, coming from Larchmont and parking on the street. We can easily handle that. And if it comes to the point that we can't, then we'll change the rule again. But right now, I don't think we need to fight with people about getting on the beach, because I think that we're not going to have that problem. The problem will be in social distancing and face masks. That's where the problem is, which was the problem yesterday and last week, which is a continual problem of obeying the other laws, not the 50% capacity.
So we are going to have a distinguishing class of permit holders, non-permit holders, county residents, non-county residents at the beach access point. That's when we're going to have businesses normal as usual will be access to the beach.
Yes.
Despite all this conversation about resident only, the reality is anybody can get onto the beach.
Yes.
I still have concerns about that this week.
But that's why I want to clear it up, because I think if we don't
Appreciate that.
discuss it, we're going to have confusion.
Did anybody listen to what Commissioner Hurd said a few minutes ago, or remember her concern about how our resident communities have worked really hard to keep the, to flatten the curve, and now, Emily, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but can you express your concerns again about people from all over coming?
Right. I don't feel good about it this first weekend. I think we protect our communities. We've been working our butts off, asking our residents to, sacrifice a lot, stay inside. And again, I'm not saying other communities aren't doing the same thing, but,
but we don't know.
Or is it just being too punitive in that the only thing we're telling the non-resident walk-ins that they can't go on the beach, but they could still be in the park, Well,
that's it. Yes. Yeah. And
what's the difference?
I'm not suggesting there is a difference. I'm just saying that.
Nor am I.
I mean, if we're not concerned with overcapacity, then what's the difference, beach or park? We'll let them on.
I don't understand why we're not concerned with overcapacity with New York City being closed and Glen Isle being closed. I think that people are going to say, let's just go to Playland. They're going to discover that the Playland beach, isn't, they're not going to be able to get onto Playland beach, and
they're not going to be able to get into Playland parking lot, Paul.
And then they're going to park in front of Russ's house and bear the cost of a ticket. Or
how much is the ticket?
Maybe
no, I'm gonna just charge him. That's all.
Yeah. Josh,
how much is the ticket?
Getting the ticket is good for the city of Rye. You're going to close your budget gap.
We're just going to have to pay the overtime for all the ticket riders.
That's
right. How much is a ticket? How much is the ticket? I'm just curious.
I'm sorry. I don't have the menu.
I wonder, and I wonder if the math works, that it's not that much of a difference to get a ticket than it is to go actually park the car.
Oh no, it's like $60 or $75. I forgot what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I know we're all sort of joking, but it's a major inconvenience for those residents to have those cars parking.
No question.
Well, something, I'm not gonna butt my head against the wall with everybody. If you want to limit the beach to residents only, fine. I'm not in favor of that. I think that the beach has plenty of space. I think it's a welcoming beach, and
we could use the money.
Look, you can have. We've seen the beach relatively empty, and people not social distancing because they're in a group of 8 or 10 or 12 people with maybe 100 people on the beach, as opposed to we could have social distancing with more. I'm not worried about the beach capacity.
Well, you have to look at the beach.
And you're a lot of the members are.
Gary, hold on. There's a way to cut this knot and compromise between Fritz's position, Emily, and everybody. So you take Friday. It's going to be a nice day on Friday. See how it goes. Limited to residents only. If all you can see are tumbleweeds and hear crickets and there's no one there, so maybe loosen it up for Saturday. You can go on a day-by-day basis. There's nobody preventing you from making a...
No, you can't, Jeff, because people are not going to know. You got to put it up on the website and publicize it. You can't start publicizing it on Saturday morning that, non-residents can use the beach. We have to publicize it now so that people know now what the rules are for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And if the commission in a majority feels that we need to limit this entire weekend to residents only, then that's what we'll do. I'm not going to, like I say, I am not in favor of that. If the others are, then fine, that's what we'll do.
You think non-residents are hanging on our website a few days in advance to know whether to come to our beach or not? It's going to be a game day decision for these people. They can't get into Playland.
Well, Jeff, That's the assumption, but maybe not, because maybe in this situation where every beach is closed, people are going to be really seeking out the open beaches, right? So if we can get something up on our website that's definitive and clear, then, you know, maybe some people will at least.
Well, I mean, look, you can do the restriction first and then loosen it.
Let's play it safe this weekend. Let's just make the rule. And if we need to change it for the next weekend, let's change it for the next weekend.
Josh, would you just define the rule that you had in mind?
Sure. The rule is residents only, beach and parking.
Town and city residents only.
Yes.
Beach and parking, 2019 permits.
Including 2019 permits held by residents. That is, we take those into account.
All right.
What about park access, Josh? The park itself?
The people, if they want to sit on the grass, fine. I think a lot of people, though, will just go try to find another beach because that's the object.
So, do you have a date that you want to see this go to? Is it just for this weekend, or do you want to go to the second weekend as well?
I would just do it for this weekend. I think this weekend is a great laboratory. It's Memorial Day weekend. I realize it's one of our biggest weekends. I hate to subject it to this pressure, but here we are. So just this weekend, and then we reevaluate. We can always have a Zoom meeting, or I'm happy to give Gary authority to flex it for the next weekend.
All right, all right, so basically what we're doing is for this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, residents only. Resident permits will be honored for 2019 if they have it with them. If they don't have the permit with them, then they will be subject to the non-permit rate, unless Debbie can figure out a way with, who is it, Joe Urlino on this one? Is that the guy?
Really, it's Peter DiCostanzo.
Peter DiCostanzo. To all these computer people, I can't even keep them straight anymore. And determine if they can extend residence only through May 31st. And if not, then they can't. So, all right. So that's the rule. Is everybody in favor? Is anybody opposed to that?
Is there going to be, if a non-resident walks into the park and goes to the kiosk and buys a beach admission, what happens?
They can't.
They'll have to show proof of residency in order to buy that admission.
To whom?
Wait a minute. Okay. So we have wait, I'm just thinking this through. We have a kiosk that will sell them beach admission.
Right.
In order to pull this off, we would have to get somebody out and reprogram our machines.
No, I don't think it.
Or someone's going to buy a ticket for their whole family, approach the gate, get to the gate. They're going to be asked for ID. They're going to live in the Bronx, and they're going to be turned away, and they're going to be irate because they can't get onto the beach.
And they can't get their money back.
How do they get a refund?
They don't.
No, they don't. So the answer here, if I may, is that we have somebody stationed at every kiosk, or in a big sign says residents only.
Just put a sign, just to your point, Russ.
Yeah.
You know, just put a sign that says this weekend, you know, residents only.
Yeah, it's.
I'm going to have to leave.
Hey, Paul, there's so many signs out there now. I don't think anybody sees them anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to have your staff. You know, it's going to be a big task for the staff to get to explain the information.
I mean, it does. There is the potential for the staff to be put in really difficult decisions or situations. Excuse me. Here.
Yeah.
Right.
No question.
Yeah. Yeah. The staff is going to be a front line. This is going to be tough.
You know, the interaction with the public, with the way we had the system running, was very limited. Where people came in, they parked, they paid by phone, they went to a kiosk, got going. This new adventure for us, you know, is bringing us back to that little confrontation.
It's bringing us into
Close.
the COVID corral.
Yeah,
that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's bringing us into the COVID corral.
You know what though? Benny brings up a good point. Well, the point is that what if somebody pays with the phone app?
Yeah.
We might have to disable that for the weekend.
Yeah, but you know.
After we're encouraging everybody to use it.
I don't want to have staff touching, and you know, we have to worry about our staff making sure they stay healthy as well during this.
Did Josh leave the meeting?
He did.
Yes.
Okay.
He left his vote with us. So I agree. I think, you know, my feeling is, as Fritz and Josh's feeling, that it should be, you know, this weekend, it should, you know, my feeling is state resident only and across the board.
You say it's state resident?
Stay for, you know, keep it as resident only.
Rye Town, Rye City residents.
Yes, and I think the opportunity that the county is limiting access to their facility is going to present too great a challenge for us if we don't limit it to residents only. And I think we need to, you know, take that precaution for our staff and for, you know, for our residents as well.
I'm just not sure practically we can do it. Like technologically, practically, I'm not sure that's really going to work. I think that you can, you know, you can sort of have signs and have barkers and suggest to people residents only. But if somebody walks up, if somebody bought a ticket, at the kiosk and walks up to the gate, you know.
But that would be true regardless if you made it non-resident. I don't mean that way. If you Westchester County residents only would be the same problem. You know, the county is limiting playland access.
Yeah, and the only way that the reason they can do it that way is because there's a choke point where the ticket takers are taking tickets, or the choke point is the parking lot. We don't have that choke point because we've implemented this new technology whereby people
creating. I understand. No, Jeff, and I agree with you 100%. But I believe, Russ, correct me if I'm wrong, before a car gets into the parking lot, somebody's going to check to validate whether they should be there in the first place.
Yes, they're going to check.
If you're allowed to get to the parking lot, then you're good.
Paid yet. Most of them haven't paid yet by the app or whatever. They're waiting to pay at the kiosk. That's easy. The sift at the parking lot entrance is the easy part. It's the walk-ins from wherever they parked that's going to be the challenge, because they're going to have already.
Because you're taking the car out of the equation. We're controlling access to the parking lot. We're not concerned with that. The easiest thing was my suggestion originally: control the parking lot, let everybody else go to the beach. The commission's majority feels that residents only on the beach. That means we now must have staff available to check and risk that we're going to have non-residents coming in from Playland or parking in front of Russ's house, walking over, paying their fee, coming to the beach, and after paying their fee, having an attendant say, "No, you can't go on the beach. Enjoy our park."
Confrontation. That is a flat. To me, that's like a flashpoint. They're going to be all ready and excited to get on the beach, have done everything right, and be turned away. I don't think. This is personal. I just don't think that, given the 50% restriction on cars in the parking lot, given the inability to park at Playland, that we're going to be overwhelmed with people. I just feel like that's not going to happen this weekend. There's too many obstacles. But if somebody wants to walk up and go to the beach, having gotten there on foot or by Uber, or I think it's going to be very challenging for us to prevent them from doing that.
Well, you know something, my feeling is this, and I go back to what you said a couple of weeks ago, Jeff, non-confrontation. Put the signs up, discourage non-residents from paying for beach access, and if somehow they paid for it, you got a family of 4 or 5, they've already paid their daily rate, which is considerable if for that many, and they come in and they say to the beach attendant, I've already paid.
Right.
The beach attendant should say, well, I'm going to let you on the beach this time, but that's not the rule. You've already paid, so we'll let you
tomorrow. You just know that the policy's in effect this whole weekend.
Right.
Let you in today, but tomorrow you can't. It's imperfect, but it avoids.
There needs to be some degree of discretion.
The one thing we don't
have some
want is
discretion.
confrontation. We don't want confrontation.
No, because the confrontation can cause the COVID, right? That's
So if it's right. So if it's publicized properly, and then discretion is the greater part of valor, right?
I think we can subvert most of those transactions, stop most of those transactions at the kiosks, and at the entrance booths. However, for the small, and this is to Jeff's point, to the small percentage of people that pay by the app, so be it. You know, we don't need a confrontation. I think it's going to be a very small percentage of people.
There are obviously 2 schools of thought on this. One school where Jeff and I are, and I don't know if anybody else is we're not going to be overrun by non-residents coming from Playland or parking on the street. And the beach can handle it, and we're not going to really have a problem. The other thought school of thought that Josh evinced is all the other beaches are closed. No beaches in New York City. No other beaches in Glen Island is closed. And we are going to be inundated with people who are non-residents attempting to get on the beach and destroying our social distancing policy. And
How will they have
to the point,
to
let me finish, to the point that Emily said, we've worked so hard, all of our communities have worked so hard to keep our COVID problem down, and this is going to overrun. So
yeah,
there are those 2 schools
no
of thought.
question.
It's very simple.
If we have a problem, there's also the ultimate closing down the beach entirely and saying this isn't working. You know, we have to be able to recognize the safety standards that are in place, and if people aren't abiding by it, you got to shut it down. Residents.
Well, and I think that's my biggest concern is that we have a big turnout this weekend, and the situation is so crazy. I mean, I don't know, people are disagreeing with me, but that we have to shut the beach down. And we're hearing from Rye residents on a regular basis about what an incredible outlet the park and beach have been for the users. And so my concern is jeopardizing that for everybody, for our town and city community.
All right. I understand your concern. I understand the position of a lot of the Rye residents that have contacted you. I feel differently about it. But you know, we can agree to disagree. I think the majority of the commission feels with you and wants to limit it to the residents, and I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Yeah, sorry, I guess I feel like we're kind of going in circles, and I notice now Fritz and Josh are off, so I feel like we need to just.
Well, Fritz and Josh maintain the position. Fritz was the strongest on it. Fritz wants he didn't want to extend the permits for 2019 to anybody, and he's very strong on residents only. I think you and Josh feel that way, and to a lesser extent, Benny and Paul feel that way.
Do you need a motion?
I seem to be a minority of one, but I feel differently than you do. But that's okay. So am I correct? The majority of the commission feels that it should be residents only for this weekend. The park is open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to everybody. And next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to make another decision. Right? Okay.
Yes.
So that's where we are.
And the decision will be made by a special session of the commission or an executive decision?
Well, I think we should communicate with each other, and if we need to
It's
have...
easy enough. It's easy enough to communicate because we'll get a report from the staff on Tuesday.
Okay.
As to how the weekend went, and then we'll make another decision.
You know, the other concern that I had with I'd rather see less people than more people. We're opening up the bathrooms. There's a cleaning, you know, there's a lot that goes into doing that under these times. So I think for staffs, and I keep saying staff because they're the ones, you know, that have to ensure that we're meeting the standards. They're going to be out there constant, you know, cleaning. It's going to be busy enough for them. I think all in all, all things considering, this is the proper way to do it in my view, with limiting it to residents only.
All right. Well, we'll go that way.
So just to extend this, what you're saying is this is period full stop the entire day. If well, I guess for the Barley Beach House, it's takeout anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But, you know, can non-residents buy food from Barley Beach House and then leave?
Yeah, I think so.
They can walk into the park.
Sure.
No reason can't park.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. What about the permit office? We're opening the permit office, but only selling permits to residents?
I thought it was seniors only. I thought you were limiting it to seniors. Debbie?
At the moment, we are poised to open up all permit sales.
Okay.
I think we should open up all permit sales. If a non-resident wants to buy a permit, if they can get into the park, they can buy it.
Or they can buy it on the portal.
It may not be worth it to them because they may not be allowed in the park all summer long. But if they want to buy a permit, they'll buy a permit.
Are you going to prorate it for the times that they were excluded?
No. No,
it's May 31st. You got a lot of signs out there. What do you think, Russ, on the permit office? Do you have an opinion on the permit office?
Yeah, I think that, you know, I had an opinion until tonight. Because, I mean, in the sense that, only in the sense that yes, I believe we should start selling permits as soon as possible. However, I had not until this moment considered that we would just sell them to residents. I do have to say that, to the best of my knowledge, our park is unique in that it's the only, you know, in air quotes, municipal park that sells season permits to non-residents.
Okay.
So many municipalities, you're lucky enough if as a non-resident, you can pay the daily rate.
Understood.
So I could get behind initially, since we don't know where the season's going to go, I could get behind the idea that for the initial permit sale period of the next week or 2 weeks, that we limit it to only residents. Resident permit sales only. You're going to disenfranchise those 350 non-resident seniors, but it might just be a 2-week delay, you know?
Does it make any sense to close the permit office this weekend and open it up on Tuesday?
Oh my gosh, Benny.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, talk about the barbarians at the gate. I mean, it's been a war on many fronts, you know, for the last couple of weeks. People want.
I don't want to create a problem. I just didn't know if it would be easier.
Yeah. Well,
that's all.
My position
not recommending that.
Yeah, no, I understand.
My position originally is I don't want to sell permits at all, in person, everything online. I don't want my staff near the public issuing permits. But My staff thinks that there's so much demand that there are a lot, especially the seniors, don't want to do it online. So the staff recommended that the permit office be open. I am not in favor of that, but if the staff thinks that it's best, then we'll do it that way.
But Gary, but the more important, the question that Benny is asking is that if we decide that if we all agree that we open up the permit office as soon as possible, technically possible, do we restrict permit sales to residents only for the first 2 weeks?
Yes.
Both online and in person. Because
I would say if a non-resident wants to buy a permit online at the regular rate without possibility of a refund, let them.
Well, that's kind of crappy because
as long as they understand what the rules are.
Well, but I don't know how good we're going to be at communicating those rules. So
what about the open water swim permits?
I would suggest that we put a 2-week hold on non-resident permit sales.
What if we do no permit sales?
That's what I was asking.
Right, like let's not honor. I say it's just too complicated, right? The last year's permits have expired. This year there's no permits offered until we get a sense of what is going to happen there.
Emily, you have not been bombarded with the calls that both the staff and the mayors have regarding permit sales, okay, especially from the seniors. The seniors especially are calling, when can I get my permit? How can I get my permit? And I think that to say we're not going to issue permits this year is going to cause an incredible hullabaloo. And I think that we are, originally we thought we weren't going to issue permits at all because we didn't know if we were going to have a season. But I think we need to commit to issue the permits. The only thing we must do is say that they're non-refundable. We don't know that the state and or the county are going to say all beaches closed as of June 15th and we're not reopening and the season is over. They can do that.
Doesn't that though, lead you to think that we should just not have permits, right? Then it doesn't.
They're clamoring for permits. If they want the permits, they get the permits.
I think if people,
but it's not refundable. They don't have to get the permits.
I agree with Gary.
Don't forget, the senior permits are only $30. So if they use it twice, it makes it worth it.
Emily,
the seniors are the ones who really want the permits.
I've heard from a lot of seniors.
The lifetime.
Gary, can I talk?
Let me finish. We have the lifetime permit holders who are used to not paying anything. And if you don't honor those permits, you're going to have about 700 seniors that are now going to have to pay full rate to get into the park.
Yeah.
And they're not going to like that. And we are representatives of the public and have to, make those rules. I don't think it pays to have that confrontation with such a segment of our population when we've done it all the time. My personal feeling, if anybody shouldn't go to the park, it's the seniors.
Right.
Of whom, by the way, I am one.
These are the decisions that they have to make on their own, Gary.
That's exactly right, Paul. Paul, I agree with you 100%. They have to make a decision as to whether they're going to go to the park, and people will have to make a decision on their own if they want to buy a permit, knowing in some cases that access is limited on weekends to residents, which may or may not continue for the rest of the summer, and also knowing that the state of New York may at any time say, I'm sorry, we're closing the beach. No more beaches this summer. We don't know any of those things. So you're right, Paul. Everybody has to make a decision on their own and take responsibility.
Yeah. So, Emily, I've received lots of inquiries from seniors. Can we please buy our permits? To Gary's point, the permit is $30. If we make it clear right up front that they're non-refundable, then listen, that's the chance that they'll take.
Yeah.
I feel like we should at least allow them to buy the permits. And I think that we should given the fact that we haven't, sold them yet, we should extend the 2019, and that's making the assumption that they still even have them, that we should extend the 2019 permits for
I have mine.
Well, the permit is a printout, Paul. So even if they've lost them, they go into their email, they find that email, and they print it up again.
Well, again, you're assuming that, people, especially seniors, have the ability to do that on the spot.
Okay.
So
can we go?
Well,
can we go back,
senior, Paul,
Gary?
I resent that.
Gary, please, can we go back and just decide as a group whether or not we're going to also open up permit sales to non-residents, please?
I would say, my view, do not open up permit sales to non-residents in person. First of all, it's going to be hard for them to get in person since they won't be able to park on the weekends. But I would certainly open it up online if they take their chance and take their responsibility to do it. Open it up, let them buy it.
I'll abide by your decision.
Is that okay with everybody? Benny, Emily, Paul?
Debbie, is there any way of saying
one day at a time?
Then just what is there any way of saying all sales are final?
Oh yes, and we already have. That's already written into our portal and onto the permit.
But if an earnest buyer buys the permit not knowing that they could be forever excluded this season and they don't get a refund, that's not fair.
Yes, it is if they're warned about it. Nobody's forced to buy a permit.
There's an element of fairness lacking. Just don't open up non-resident.
Everything is uncertain. We don't know if we're going to have a season. As Paul alluded to before, everybody has to take responsibility for their own decision here. Nobody's being forced to buy a permit, either a non-resident or a resident or a senior or anything else.
The non-residents are relying on past practices, and to not give them a refund if they're excluded from the beach is not fair, in my view. And as a result, I would say, until we're sure about what's going on, why offer the permit sales to non-residents?
We are about to lose, we just lost Benny. So I would say that I've gotten a notification that the council, the people are waiting for the council meeting to start, and Benny has just signed off.
All right, I think we know the direction. Before we sign off, I just wanted, unless somebody else has something, I just wanted to bring everybody up to date on the capital projects. The seawall has been completed. A certificate of occupancy has been applied for to the city of Rye. We are moving forward to ask FEMA for reimbursement. As far as the ramps are concerned, we are before the Rye City Planning Commission on May 28th. The bid books are basically completed, and they were sent to both the county and the state for review to make sure that all of their different requirements are in the bids regarding all kinds of things that have nothing to do with construction. And the DEC permit, finally, it was logged into the application site, so we'll be able to move forward on that. The goal is to have, to be in a position to issue bids sometime in the first or second week of June, and to have the bids back by the end of June so that we can choose a bidder, an award winner, make an award sometime in July for construction to start as soon as the beach season is over. And as you're all aware, we're getting money through CFA from the state. We're getting money from CDBG, which is federal money, and Assemblyman Otis has made an application for another SAM grant of $250,000. So we are on the way to, we have funding available. And that's it on that. I think it's all good news on the capital front. Finally.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
now on, you're welcome to tune into the Rye Town Council meeting.
Yeah. Bye.
Good night,
I've had
everyone.
enough fun, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Jeffrey, you have to hang up.
Oh, sorry. I have to hang up and dial back? Okay.
Yeah, it's a different number and a different password.